All right, let's now, as they like to say, let's keep it real or keep it 100. The youth like to say, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I done heard some of them say it like that. But I wanted to come back. This is part two of Do for Self. I got some notes here too, because I said I don't want to miss anything. So welcome back to part two of Do for Self. And again, I want to keep it 100 with you. I want to keep it as real and as raw as possible. So I said, I'm not going to just keep winging it and not view some notes because I do a lot of writing nowadays. So I said, let me kind of make sure that I stay on point with this because I think this is critically important in this time. So um, there's a reason why I've been talking about the do for self economy, right? The game has changed. For those of us who are, especially who identify, I believe that everyone is born an entrepreneur, right? We're all born with the capacity, some unique talent, skills, and gifts that would allow us to do something for ourselves. If I was to give a layman's term of what entrepreneurship is, that's all it is. You have the capacity to do something for yourself. We all do. Entrepreneur is a French word. So those of us who identify with the French word of entrepreneur, and in particular, Black entrepreneurs, we cannot afford to play by old rules anymore. Right? Those who are still stuck in I need a job. Again, you're not even going to watch these videos because this is going to irritate your spirit because you're so hell bent on finding someone else's job or someone to give you a job or an opportunity that any talk of doing for self and developing your skills and tapping into who and what you are to generate income and create wealth and build a life, career, and business, that stuff is going to irritate you. And in truth, I'm trying my best to irritate you because the last thing I want to continue to see is our people begging and pleading for crumbs. We're begging and pleading for a seat at the table, but we're not even getting a seat nowadays. We're just getting the crumbs that's falling off of the table, and we're fighting over those crumbs and those scraps. And so I'm trying to irritate those who are groveling and begging and pleading for somebody else to just see me, to see us, when we need to look at each other and say, I see you. Which is what I'm doing now. I see you. I know you have God-given talents, gifts, and skills, and you're so unique and beautiful. It just needs to be developed. That's the way God designs us, that we have to develop it. And so that's what we need to be on the quest to do. And as someone who's been out in the field for some time now, I think I've earned a few stripes to say, hey, y'all, the game has changed. And we can't afford to play by the old rules anymore. We're watching the jobs disappear. I'm getting phone calls and emails now of people who thought that their government jobs was safe and secure, and now they don't know what to do. And I'm giving them the same advice I gave before. But like I said, it's irritating them because if you don't think that you can do it, there's nothing I can say that will get you going. I can just keep giving it. But it's up to you to say, you know what? It is up to me. So we're watching the jobs disappear. We're watching the massive layoffs. We've lived through the underfunding, the cutting of grants, the doors being closed on us. We're living through all of that. And now the game has changed because now we have all of these new tools that have entered into the space: artificial intelligence, automation, robotics. And this is just scratching the surface on some of the things that technology is able to do now. It's moving at a pace now that most of us are finding it very difficult to keep up with the pace of the advancement of technology and the changing of the times. So the way the analogy that we used to use, we just want to be on an even playing field. But hell, now we're in a whole new stadium now. this playing field has become obsolete. We're in a whole new stadium. But here's the thing: the new stadium that we're going into, the new arena, the new game that's being played, the field is already level. We're not left behind. We're being invited to play an entirely different game. And the inviter is not those who used to do the inviting and closing doors, because they're even suffering now. They don't know what to do. And so now the new inviter is inviting us into an arena to play a game where here are all the tools now. You have access, and now you can move forward. So technically, we're not behind anymore. We just haven't embraced this idea that we should be doing for self. See, that's what we've entered into the do for self economy. I've already created a video on that, so I won't talk about that again right now. But in the do for self economy, it's all about ownership. It's about ownership over employment and job. It's about making impact over just being invisible, right? Hiding and shrinking in the corner. It's about being creative, producing, and building instead of just consuming. You've got the skills, you've got stories, you've had and still have your struggles that you've overcome and you've survived. You've solved problems for yourself. And even though you don't think that's huge, it is extremely huge in today's society. Because now you can take what you did to solve your problems and now begin to help other people solve their problems. And the language that you hear people saying is that if you want to get paid, or if you want to make money, if you want to be in business or be an entrepreneur, find a problem and solve it. Well, hell, there's problems everywhere. But you don't need to be trying to solve all of the problems that exist in the world. This is where we get scatterbrained and we're trying to just find a problem. The best problem to find is look at yourself. I'm looking at myself. I got problems. And if I can solve my problems, there's someone who's probably either next to me or behind me or even probably in front of me who's experiencing this problem now. And now I have a solution to help them because I've solved that problem. That's where the value is today. I used to hear my mentor and Jegna, we call him Jegna, that came from Dr. Anthony Browder teaching us the appropriate term. Mentor is not necessarily a great term, but again, we have to use words from the English language that we're familiar with, or we already have a problem communicating. But if we start using terms that probably have better meaning, but yet we don't know it, we still, we probably still won't be able to communicate properly. So Jegna is a term from the motherland that really explains how we mentor and educate and train. Is more than a mentor. Mentor is, of course, a term or word that's named after somebody. Like most things in America, they're named after people who conquered and did things in America, and they name things after them, and then we embrace those names. But it's much deeper than that. So, but my Jegna, my mentor, for the lack of a better term, Dr. Frazier used to teach us a while ago about the purpose of us as human beings. And one of those main purposes is to learn how to create and add value. That's why we're here. And I'm saying to you that now your stories, your struggles, your experiences, your unique gifts, this is how you create value. And value in the do for self economy, that's the new currency. As the dollar's losing value, as things that we thought were valuable are losing value, meaning that they're going up in costs. And that's a whole nother story for another conversation for another video. But they're not as valuable, or the value isn't there that was once there, and the thing that would attract money and wealth and relationships and resources is this new value that we can create by combining all of these unique capabilities now that we are developing. So here's the truth. Let me wind this down. I don't want these videos to be too long. The do for self economy is powered by what some people call IP, intellectual property, right? This is, again, your ideas, your expertise, your experiences, your wisdom, your stories, your unique solutions. This is your intellectual property. So I encourage you, strongly encourage you to begin to find out how to package your intellectual property so that you have something of value that you can begin to share in the marketplace. In the do for self economy is powered by intellectual property, but it's also sustained by all of these digital tools. So here we are. I'm sharing some of my intellectual property right now, and look at how it's being sustained. It's by digital tools, recording in Zoom and YouTube and our phones. There's so many digital tools that allow us to reach people, not just next door, but across the globe. So there'll be people in other countries watching this video. So in the do for self economy, it's going to be powered by your intellectual property. This is why us Black entrepreneurs must embrace this. It's going to be sustained by all of the digital tools that we have access to, and that some of us are beginning to create now, because we got AI and these other tools that allow us to create platforms and different other extensions of tools that we used to have a pay an arm and a leg for, but now we can create ourselves. And if they're tested and they get better and better, now again, we're creating something, we're adding value. And the growth and the scalability is going to come through your community, the network, right? Because now we have to begin to make connections and partnerships and strategic alliances and joint ventures. That's the new capital in this new economy. So if you ever said, you know, Brother B, I'm tired of starting over, or I know I'm meant for something more. I wrote that down because that was something that someone said to me on a call recently, and they said it was so much fervor. I said, man, I'm wondering if a lot of other people are feeling that way. She said, I know I'm meant for something more. And she is, right? Then this is your time. That's what I told her. I said, this is your time. You're meant for more. And now you have the tools. Now you have all of your lived experience, and you have the pain of and of what you're sharing, that you can develop solutions for people. I told her, I said, this is your time. And I said, stop renting your talent to other people and start building your own economy. And this isn't hype. This is, I hope, I strive my best not to come across as one of these hyperbolic gurus just promising the world. This stuff is going to take some work. But what else do you have to do? I once heard something about moving progressively like this and doing for self. So what do you have to lose except your chains, right? What do you have to lose by being yourself, doing for self? You have everything to gain and nothing to lose. So this isn't hype. This is the new economy that we're in. Now, this is a new era. This is a new time. Again, I call it the do for self economy. The only question that remains is, are you going to participate? Or are you just going to watch other people participate? Or are you going to participate and jump in and start leading in the do for self economy instead of following something that appears to be fading? So this is your brother Bedford, and I got a few more things I want to share on this do for self idea. So I'll see you in the next video. Talk to you soon. Take care.